Do not accept and stay in a situation that you don't want just to turn around months later and throw it up in their face. That is not fair. What's up, ladies? Welcome back to another episode of I'm Jess Sayin, the podcast where we keep it real, hold ourselves accountable, and work towards being the best versions of ourselves. I'm your host, your accountability partner, and life coach, and I am here to help you navigate this crazy thing called a life. So today, we're going to be diving into a topic that has been around for a while now. It's definitely something that's been popping up everywhere. I know you probably already know what it is, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Yes, we're going to be talking about situationships versus relationships. Woo, child. Now, I know a lot of y'all probably already done sat up in y'all seat like, wait a minute now. Is she about to attack me? Is she coming for me? Am I in a situationship? Is this a problem? Am I in a relationship? What are we doing? I know a lot of y'all probably got a lot of questions, but it is okay. That's why we're here to help each other figure it out today. So go ahead, take a moment to grab your tea, grab your wine, grab your water, whatever it is you need to sip on so that we can go ahead and talk about this topic and figure out where exactly should we be drawing the line between the two. So let's start out by defining this whole situationship thing. Okay. So basically, if you are confused, if you're someone that's been out here dating and you don't know, are we something serious? Is this going somewhere? Are we just hanging out, having a good time? Am I in a situationship? If you're one of those people, then you definitely need to tune into this part. So a situationship is basically like the gray area between a casual fling and a full-blown relationship. Now, if you think back on it, have you been in a situationship, sis? Are you currently in a situationship? Do you like situationships? Take a moment right now and drop it in the chat. If you like situationships, drop comment below and say situationship. If you prefer relationships, comment below and put relationship. I want to know what y'all like, because everybody doesn't like to be committed. So I want to see what it is that y'all like out there. So getting back into the description. So when it comes to situationships, it's literally like you're in a relationship almost. You're doing all the relationship things. You're texting, you're hanging out. More than likely, you're probably having some intimacy going on in there, sprinkling it in a little bit. But the only thing is you don't have the label. You don't have the commitment. And the biggest thing that I hate is that you don't have the clarity. Now, a relationship, on the other hand, is completely different because it has structure. There's usually a mutual understanding between both parties, or however many parties are involved. I don't judge. There's an understanding, there's expectations set there, and ideally there should be a shared vision of what you guys want going for the future. So basically, you know what you're doing, you know who you're doing it with, and you know where things are going or where things should be going. And if you don't know, at least you know that both of you guys are working towards trying to figure it out. So if you're still sitting here wondering, trying to figure out which side you're on, don't worry, because we're about to unpack this together. Okay, so let's be real for a minute, because I know a lot of us have been out here in the dating game. We've been in relationships, we've been in flings, we've been in situations, we've done a lot. If you're like me, if you're a millennial, you have lived, honey. You have lived. I know your 20s. We ain't gonna talk about that. That's a whole nother episode, But I know that you have had moments where you're probably thinking like, what are we? Why hasn't this person introduced me to any of their family, any of their friends? I know they have kids. You always find yourself asking them like, what are we doing? And you can't ever get a clear response. Now, sis, if you're nodding your head and you're like, yes, girl, amen, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, I'm here to let you know that there's a good chance that you're probably in a situationship. And listen, once again, I am not here to judge. I've been in quite a few, and they're not always bad as long as both of you agree on what's going on. So once again, like I said, I'm definitely not here to judge, but the real question is, are you okay with what's going on right now? Because here's the thing about situationships. They're often convenient. Yes, they are, but they are rarely fulfilling. It doesn't really fill up any space in your life. It's kind of like a dash pass, like a, drive through. They don't stay for long. They don't make any real kind of impacts. They just kind of drive up and drive by and drive through and drive on. You know what I mean? Not to make it sound bad, but it's like you're not fully in and they're not fully in either. And let's be honest, you're living in limbo, and being in limbo can definitely be draining. I know it can seem fun in the beginning because you're doing all these things. It's like, oh, I got somebody I could chill with. I got somebody I could spend time with, but you have that person until you don't. And it's always usually when you really need them that they're not available, and you can't do anything about it because you guys aren't committed. So you already know the life coach in me. I have to give you an assignment. And so your assignment for today is, I want you to take some time and I want you to write down what it is that you want from a partner. What is it that you want from a relationship? Are your current actions aligning with the things that you're desiring? And if they're not, then that's your first sign that there's something that needs to change. And even though I say something needs to change, it doesn't have to be an immediate change, but some things do need to shift because you're wanting one thing, but you're currently in another thing, and that thing does not align with your goal. So what you're doing, you're taking this long detour. You're taking a long detour, and usually it ends up causing more harm than good. And the reason it causes more harm than good is because usually when we're in these situationships, we don't know when to get out. That's the biggest problem, because it's like, oh, it's so good. And it's real. It's like, I can't really say anything because we're not in a relationship, but things can be so great. But dang, I hate it when he can't answer the phone in this moment. I hate it when he's not available to come over. I hate it that he's talking to other people. You hate all these things, but you put it to the side because of all the great times that you're enjoying as well. So that's why you want to go ahead and try and nip it in the bud. If you're looking to have a good time, you're not trying to have anything serious, and the space that you're in currently aligns with what you're doing, then have at it, sis. Have a good time. Enjoy the ride, girl. So I know I just touched on why we tend to stay in these situationships longer than we should, but I do want to dive a little bit deeper than that, because I know it's more than just not knowing when to walk away, but it's also things like you being afraid of being alone. Some people don't want to be alone, but they are so afraid of also committing. And it's like, I just want to have someone here, but I've been so hurt in the past and I don't trust people anymore like that. And the truth is, if you don't trust enough to want to be in a relationship, you definitely do not trust enough to be in a situationship, because situationships are very, very risky. You open your body, your life, your emotions, all kinds of things. You open yourself up to these people in these different kinds of ways, and you're way more vulnerable because you're not looking at them as a relationship, and usually you're not critiquing them as harshly as you would in a relationship. So they tend to get passes for a lot of other things that you wouldn't typically give someone that you're committed to. Crazy, I know, but that's exactly what happens. And then a lot of times people are just afraid to ask for what they want. People are afraid to voice what it is that they want, what it is that they need. You don't want to tell the person that you're in the situationship that you're wanting more, you're looking for more, because then you'll feel like you're asking for too much or you're doing too much. And it's like, this isn't what we agreed upon. And then in turn, ultimately, you're afraid of losing the connection that you guys have built. And you're afraid of losing it because you feel like it's so great if only he just wanted to be in a relationship. But the truth is, it's great because it's not real. It's a fantasy. Fantasies do not last forever. You enjoy them for a moment and you move on. That's the reality of it. All that great time that you guys have been having, it's not real. Yes, it has actually been happening. It's not just your imagination. But what I'm saying is, if you guys were to commit to each other, it's not going to be just like it was in your situationship. Trust me, on both ends, there are things that you look for from a partner that you don't look for in a situationship. And you don't know if that person is even qualified to give you the things that you want to be in a relationship because you've been too busy turning up, having fun, going on vacations, having all the nice dinners, having all the fun times. But you guys haven't really experienced the rough parts of each other. So you don't even know if they're fit to be in a relationship or even if they will be good for you in a relationship. But regardless of all of that, let me tell you something. You are so deserving, and I really need you to understand this. You deserve clarity. You deserve consistency. And most importantly, you deserve somebody that is just as excited about you as you are about them. Period. You're deserving of all of it. And if you're finding yourself being too afraid to ask them for clarity because you don't want to scare them off, well, then let me tell you something. You have another question that you need to ask yourself. And I'm going to need for you to go ahead and jot this on down, girl, because I know you're sitting right here thinking about whatever your situationship is. And you like, dang, I know she's saying I need clarity, but I don't want to ask for clarity. And you don't want to ask for clarity because you're scared of losing them. But I want to know, are you afraid of losing them? Or are you afraid of losing the idea of them? Because there's a big difference between the two. Okay, so now we're at the crossroads, right? And we're trying to figure out how do we either A, move our situationship to a relationship, or B, decide that, hey, it's just time to walk away altogether. Well, the key is communication. If you're not having open and honest conversations with the other party that's involved about what it is that you want and where things are going with you guys, then you're definitely setting yourself up for confusion and disappointment. So first, I need you to be clear with yourself. You need to know what it is that you want. Are you looking for something casual or do you want a committed relationship? Now, once you figure that out, then it's time for you to speak up. And then the second thing, I need you to go ahead and put those boundaries in place. Yes, yes, yes. I know y'all are tired of hearing me talk about boundaries, but they are so important because they're going to help you have some sort of structure. Because if you're not okay with receiving these late night text messages all the time or always having these vague plans that never materialize into anything, you need to say so. Because boundaries are not ultimatums. They're just a way of you protecting your peace. And then the third thing I need for you guys to do, I need you to evaluate their response. Now, this is probably going to be really tough for a lot of you ladies out there. I already know. I'm a woman myself. I get it. So the biggest part is going to be you're going to have to shut up. You're going to have to stop talking for a minute. You're going to have to listen to what they're saying. Really take it in. Don't just listen to respond. Don't say immediately after they finish talking, but so, well, don't let yourself receive what it is that they're telling you. Process it and then respond. Okay? We got to be quiet so we can turn on our listening ears, ladies. I know it's hard for a lot of us out here, but you got to do it. This is the only way you're going to get some kind of resolution in this situationship, okay? So you need to evaluate their response. You need to know if they can meet you halfway, or are they just going to keep on giving you the same old, I'm not ready for anything serious, I'm not ready for a relationship response. And if that's what they give you, then you need to believe them because that's what it is. It is what it is. It's just that simple. And once they give you your response, then you need to decide if it's something that you're willing to accept, and you need to be honest with yourself. Do not accept and stay in a situation that you don't want just to turn around months later and throw it up in their face. That is not fair. And you need to be responsible for your own actions. If someone tells you, hey, I like screwing you, but I don't want you, and you think in your head, oh, he may want me in 6 months. I just need to stick around for a little bit longer. He just doesn't know me well yet. Oh, just wait until he tastes my dish, my favorite meal that I always make. All the men fall in love with that. Sis, he probably gonna fall in love with the meal, but that don't mean he gonna fall in love with you. So you need to be real with yourself. If it's not working, if you're not getting what you feel like you need to be getting out of the situation, it's probably time for you to walk away. I'm just saying, like, you could be blocking your blessing. It could be a man out there waiting for you and you're missing him because you're wasting time with someone that you know is just going to end up in a dead end. So I know I was just talking to the girlies that don't know how to be quiet and listen and give a real response. But this message is for the ones that are afraid to talk, are afraid to speak, the ones that are afraid of confrontation. Please do not let the fear of confrontation keep you stuck. If they are the right person for you, they'll respect and they'll appreciate your honesty. And if they're not the one for you, then it's better for you to find out now than later, right? You don't want to waste any more time. Get what you need and move along. So at the end of the day, ladies, it all comes down to self-awareness and accountability. It all comes back to that. Because no matter what you do, you cannot control what someone else does or doesn't do. But you can control how you decide to show up for yourself. And you just got to remember, you deserve a relationship that feels safe, that's fulfilling, and that aligns with your values. You do not deserve to be in something that leaves you second guessing your worth. So make sure you take some time this week to reflect on where you stand and what it is that you want. And if you have to have a tough conversation, have it. It's okay. Sometimes it has to be done. But remember, you've got this, and I am rooting for you always. All right, ladies, that is it for today's episode of I'm Just Sayin. If this episode resonated with you, spoke to you in any kind of way, please make sure you share it with your girls or just share it with someone that you feel like needs to hear this message. And do not forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss next week's episode or any other episodes that are coming soon. And until next time, I want you guys to remember to keep showing up for yourselves because you're worth it. I'm just saying.